So, in terms of the value, right? Right? If I could shift the discussion a little bit again. I mean, it's a lot, you know, and I know we cannot explore it in the fullness of what we want now. Maybe sometime we could have a follow-up video to maybe explore some of these things a little more. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the value that a man brings to the table, right? If I could say, I believe that in today's world, it seems that the male value coming to the table has been diminished as in previous years, right? And in the homes, in the workplace, even in the schools, right? And we see even there's a lot of underperformance of males in society and all kind of thing, which leads to a lot of male bashing. So from time here, man, them fellas and them, you know, all they could do is sit down in the block and lime and thing and whatever. And you see a lot of women asserting themselves differently, right? In the picture that men are not able to come up to the table, right? In your view, in terms of the value of a man, I mean, we had some interesting discussions previously about the nature of a man, the responsibilities of a man, right, which are very critical. But as it is now in today's society, how do you think we really see as a society the value of the male in our society, right? How we see it and well, afterwards we could compare it to what do we think is really necessary to move forward. But in this case, how do you see the value of a man in this society? Anybody. You all feel free.
For long time,
I think this falls straight into my court because since 2017, I did the boys polishing camp with Mr. Stewart and those guys. And at that point, it triggered for me an interest in meal development and meal progress, and I've been following it up since. We have seen some improvement, I would say, but we're not where we're supposed to be. Sometimes I feel we are only valuable for sex and for financial gain. Sometimes you feel that you have no value, or manual labor is what I call it. So to lift, to move, to tote the nice big shopping bags, to drive them around, that is where your value is. But in terms of an emotional input, you don't feel valued. In terms of participating in the decision-making process, you don't feel like you have a say.
Okay.
Because as you speak, they say you're misogynistic. There is this term that I hate, and I don't use the word hate lightly, called toxic masculinity.
Right.
There is no such term as toxic femininity, but we're using toxic masculinity for almost everything. Every time you go to male-based or male development conferences, you see levels pushback on social media. Sometimes these same female groups inviting you to male training programs to bash you for being a man. I mean, I have completed programs by the UN and some of these other organizations, and at the end of the day, they tell you, thank you for joining the feminist movement. And the intention was, yes, we want to protect them, but what about us? Where is our value? Why are you not saying you are valuable here, you're valuable there? So it's a trend. Even in the workplace, I've seen it heavy. Male-dominated areas, they're now saying they want to take over. Fine, you allow them. If you want equity, no problem. If a guy get paid 10,000, we pay you 10,000 too. But we need, same way you get 3 months maternity leave, we want 3 months paternity leave just the same way as well. And it is equity we after, no problem. If you could take 5 days home because of the cycle, let's say physically, we want 5 days home for whatever issue it may be medically that we could find. If equality is really the aim. So when we begin to dig into value, if that's our aim is, we really need to change our approach. However, I must say we are gradually seeing a change in it. It has been improving since 2017 to current, but we have a lot of work to do still.
Okay.
Well, you always say that, you know, if I want to destroy this building here around me and so on, you know, and I want to take it down from the top. You see when they brought down the the Twin Towers and so on, you know, it didn't crumble from the top. It crumbled from the top, but based on what happened at the foundation, you know. And if you're going to bring down a structure, you got to hit the foundation first. You understand? And we got to understand that. Sometimes we don't want to say these things because it comes across because of this world now that wants to make everything so feministic, as if we're male chauvinists. Right. Where we talk about the general principle that God has given us as man as the foundation, right? And if you take down this foundation, then all the other things fall apart at the structure. You know, and the fact is, you know, there are certain things why the very even scientifically, biologically look at everything. We are created with a specific structure for a reason.
Right.
That we can only do certain things that women cannot do.
Correct.
And women can do. And anytime you see women trying to do the things that man is doing, watch and you see what happens. I mean, I said this to a lady. I was on a program we were dealing with. What was it? With battles of the sexes. And I said it, and a lady get a little kind of touchy about it. I said, well, go and look at all the women that are trying to do all the sports that men want to do. See if they're still women. And it's a fact. You know, I'm not saying that they can't do them,
right.
but I'm saying that when you start to want to begin to do things in a male figure, you find yourself taking all the place in a road that you don't understand, you don't realize. You understand what I'm saying? And we don't want to talk about it, but it's a fact, right? We cannot make a man, a man cannot behave like a woman cannot behave like a man. A man can only do things as a man can do them, and a woman can only do things as a man can. A man can only speak and think and do as a man does.
Right.
The way how I lead and the way how I speak and the way, it is because of the authoritative figure that God has made me in His image. You understand? It goes back to His image. So I can't operate anything less than that. Anytime you try to operate less than that, I become a sissy. You know, and men are not created to be sissies.
Correct.
You
So
know,
then-
and women don't
jumping in.
understand
That's
that.
a very, before you come in, it touched some very interesting points, right? And I think it's a very serious challenge that we have in the world, and I think Ajay alluded to it as well. Males, you call them toxic when they exude their masculine traits.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in general, men are testosterone driven. Right? Testosterone is a more aggressive, egoistic, rough type of thing. It is not softy and cry. Any man who has high testosterone, chances are he's not a crybaby. Right? Chances are he may not be the most gentle person that you would meet. Right? And we tend to, and I think we tend to bash these things in society a lot. Right? And it doesn't mean that you'll be cool, boss, and rough and say, woman, look, man, come, man.
You know, say you'll get in trouble for saying that.
It doesn't mean that. But at the same time, I think we have to be careful that in trying to soften the men, we create sissy men, you know, which takes away from what the man was really designed to be.
Fulfilling purpose.
Because when the bandit jump into your house, when in the middle of the night, you hear the bandit, you want man to say, well, between who you think we're going to do? Let's have a conversation about this baby. You know, as a woman, you don't want that. You want the man to jump up, find the cutlass, find something, a big stick, something, and deal with it.
Household.
Right? And that is the nature of a man. Right? And even as we be talking about the value, right? Ajay, sorry, we coming back to that, right? God, we say we created man in a particular way. And I know we focusing on the Bible, this description a lot. I know we're going to bring it right back to what's happening in our society, really. Right? But God created man. He created, as a matter of fact, He created the trees, He created the animals, He created the sea, He created everything. And at the end of it, you know what He said? When He looked back, it is all good. Which included men, it included women, it included everything He created. Right? It's only one thing, if I could recall it, He said He wasn't good in creation, that man was alone. So there's a need, there's a deficiency in man that the world say, nah, it's not good for him to be alone.
Companionship.
Right? But when they look, He said everything was good, including the men. Right? And I think it speaks volumes to the value of a man.
Yeah, I would jump back in. I had an encounter recently. A friend of mine has a daughter. So the daughter is growing up, father's involved in the scenario. So they came to Tobago for a weekend, and I went to visit them. The daughter was giving trouble.
Right.
In terms of the mother speaking over and over and over and again, and the daughter completely ignored. I had one word to that daughter at the point in time, which was don't do it. Firm, loud voice, assertive, some might say aggressive, and I got an instant reaction. It's not my daughter. I could have told you that young lady grew up her daughter in an environment where the males were assertive. She knows the distinct difference between a male voice from a female's voice.
Right.
She knows the distinct difference with the punishment from a mother, from a female, and from a father. So sometimes you would see that these simple things would show you the distinct difference.
Right.
Sometimes you're in a room or you're in a space. From the time the male gets assertive and he uses that power in his voice, the room would get instantly quiet. A female might try the same thing, and calm down, quiet. When I say, hey, you get that impact immediately just simply by using your voice. So sometimes I think these small, minute areas can contribute greatly to purpose and to fulfilling our goals as men.